Hey folks, Mike and McGee here. It's time to cook breakfast. I was asked on multiple occasions over the last several years to make a video about seasoning cast iron. How am I keeping my cast iron looking so good? And not just seasoning, but maintenance. Turns out maintenance is the key. Seasoning is easy. When you first buy a skillet, you just take you some grease, some bacon grease, rub it all over it, stick it in the oven, let it bake around 200 degrees for a while, take it out. It should be fairly well seasoned. You might have to do it a time or two. No big deal. That's your original seasoning. From then on out, there's one thing that don't change. This is never going to be anything except cast iron, steel. So we're going to think about this as steel, just like you think about the inside of your car, your engine, steel. It can rust if it's not properly maintained and properly oiled. The biggest, number one thing people mess up with is not seasoning it. It's what do you do between the time you use it until the time you use it again. It's time for me to slice some bacon, but first I've got to take my skillet in and wash it up, because guess what? It's greasy. We leave it out here on this stove all night because you know what? Grease will not allow that pan to rust. If you're a clean freak and you think you have to wash it and put it away, you're going to struggle with rusty pots and pans constantly. Let's get this cleaned up. I'm going to wash it. I'm going to put it on my stove. Look here. Already got my fire going, ready to go. It's time to cook some fresh side meat. I'm not going to do cured bacon. I'm going to do fresh bacon this morning. Hot water. The stainless steel scratcher is absolutely invaluable. We're just going to scrape anything that's loose. Now, of course, if there's excess grease in here, I'm not washing it down the sink. I wipe it out with paper towels and throw it in the fire because, as you know, grease burns very well. And it's a great fire starter. So there's something that you don't have to waste. It's old grease in your pan. That does not need to be wasted. If it's really good grease, you save it and pour it in your jar after you use it so dust don't get in it. But don't wash it at that point. Set it back out somewhere out of the way and then wash it just before you use it again. It keeps 100% seasoned. Put that there. The moisture in there is going to evaporate while I'm slicing my bacon. And as always, if you're slicing fresh side meat, fresh side pork, you better have it semi to fully frozen, because if you don't, you're not going to be able to slice it thin and it's going to turn out terribly chewy and tough. So this here is completely frozen pretty much, and you just do that. Look at that. You can just get your sliver, just shave that baby just like that. Fat can be sliced frozen. It don't have to be perfectly well, if it's thawed, it's just going to be floppy. You're not ever going to be able to get a slice like this right here. Look at that. That is just, that's perfect. So let's slice this up, get it fried, and we'll eat and talk some more about cast iron. All right, I've got some more sliced up here ready to go while this is frying. This has got a little more meat in it. If you're wondering why I would freeze pork belly and fry just uncured, like I'm salting it and peppering it to taste and everything, what's the difference? It is different. And if you eat breakfast every morning the same thing, if it's cured and smoked the same way always, you will get tired of it. And I mean, we rotate bacon, sausage, sauce, you name it, whatever we've got, we'll rotate it through. But when you have fresh side meat as well, it gives you a whole nother texture and flavor. So that's why we do it. And as you can see, it takes a little bit to crisp up. It cooks differently. I don't know exactly, you gotta cut it thin and you gotta fry it good. It's a little bit like hog jowl in the sense that if you cut it too thick, it's gonna be chewy, a little more than regular bacon. But when you fry it right, it's good. And you know us, we're not picky about what we eat. If it's a little bit chewy, we'll eat it anyway. You talk to the old timers about fresh side pork, and they'll tell you that's something mighty good to eat right there. Different people have asked about my wood stove. It's a Hiko brand, and I've had it about 3 or 4 years, something like that. I actually was already making videos when I got it. I've got a video the day that I got it in. We burned this out here all summer long. We got it screened in, so you got pretty good ventilation, and we like it. Now in the winter time when we're not using it, it's a great place. It can hold very hot stuff, doesn't hurt it, so we'll be cooking in the house, and we'll have that whole stovetop covered up, and we'll have a skillet that goes empty instead of having to deal with it. And it got that hot grease in it. We can just bring it outside, set it out here on a freezing cold stovetop. Doesn't hurt a thing, gets it out of the way. Great place to just leave it until we're ready to wash it up and cook with it again. This bacon is ready to come out, and we're ready to put more in. Just gorgeous. While this last batch is frying up, I've got some boys here that have finished with their morning chores, and they're ready to help me do a taste test. The other boys are still out. One's milking a cow, one's watering cows. Mary, she don't chore animals, she does garden work. Let's try some, boys. I would recommend the thinnest slices you can find. The mouthfeel and the chew is like you're eating a thin pork chop. It's not like, nothing like bacon you would buy at the store. Nothing. It's just like eating meat that's been seasoned. It would be great with a little garlic powder, a little camp dog. I do camp dog on it a lot. Absolutely delicious if you like pork.
That's really good.
That is really good.
You can't buy it at the store, folks. At least not the store I know about. That's one really good thing about living the homestead life is if you're raising pigs, you're naturally going to have quite a few of them. That gives you the opportunity just to, you know, diversify a little bit. You don't have to do everything the same way. If you just buy a hog and raise it, you're rationing yourself. You have to do everything so. You can't diversify, and it's gone before you know it. When you're raising your own, there's a never-ending supply. That is homesteading, my friend, and that's what you need to be doing. And you need to be using your pigs to season your cast iron. I am not only frying bacon, I am seasoning my skillet. Every time you wash that skillet, it has to be re-seasoned. If you take it and wash it after you use it, like a traditional American, you have to re-season it immediately. And that does not mean just take a can of spray Pam and spray on there because it's cold. Don't work. It'll still rust. You have to heat it and everything. So nobody has that kind of time. So when you fry up your bacon, have it in your mind. I am seasoning my skillet. I don't want to break that season and wash my skillet and then set it and let it rust. Just take your skillet, set it to the side. If you want to save your bacon grease, save your bacon grease, but don't wash it. At the very most, you could take a paper towel and wipe the excess off if you're in a situation where you absolutely have to have it fairly clean, but don't wash it, especially not with soap. So anyway, that's the tips to how to keep black iron skillets nice, seasoned, not rusty, and blacker than ace of spades. But that's all I've got for you today. Hope you have a great day. We'll see you on the next video. Try another bite, boys.